Let's go to our sidebar and give it a style and make it look like the sidebar of our Figma file, as it is shown here. All right. To begin, it should be 100 VH. That is, it should use the entire height of the page and be on the left. I'll bring this to this side and I'll have this here. We start writing in the sidebar. The background that it has is temporary. We only want to be aware of where we are working, and later we should remove it, because the background which it has in Figma, you can see that it is dark and that its color is the same as that of the body. For now, we temporarily keep it here. Its height should be the same as the height of our page. It should be viewport height. So the height will be 100 VH, like this. Our height will be 100 VH. It uses the entire height of the page. We will give it a temporary width of 90 pixels like this. However, it is not 90 pixels. At a later time, we will change it, and for now, we are temporarily using this. Here, you can see that main moves down, whereas it should be next to it here. Please note that main is placed next to this. To do this, we will fix the position of our sidebar, as you can see here. Then, main will be placed next to it. However, it is this time behind the sidebar. Please notice that main is covered by the sidebar. We need to give main a padding, an amount which will make it appear which is the same as the width of the sidebar. We create a new file named structure. In this structure file, we write a series of SASS files about the entirety of our website, especially main, which is used everywhere. And we go here in our main. In this part, we will import the structure here. In this way, our structure file will be imported here. Now, what do we write in our structure? We type that our main has a padding left of 90 pixels. This padding left is the same width as this. Now, if I take a look at its width, see, the width of this is 90 pixels, and thus we will set its padding left to be 90 pixels so that it is not covered and moved behind this sidebar. And it is this part, our main begins from here, not from this part. And that is that for now. But why did we fix it? Suppose that the height of our page is, for example, I'll give body a height with the value of 2000 pixels. When I scroll down, it is fixed in its place. And that is how we want it. But if it isn't fixed, that is, if I remove this fix, see what happens? This will also scroll with it. This is not what we want. We want it to stay fixed, and when we scroll the page down, this stays fixed in place. And that is it for this one. All right, let's remove this here. Now, for the structure that we wanted, we have it here. Now, we need to start to add CSS and create it. Well, here in our sidebar, we have 3 sections. The logo, nav, and down here is the toggle button. Instead of the actual toggle button for the time being, I can just add a button so that it sits there and we can see it. Inside it, I will write toggle, and there will be a button here. This is our toggle mode. Okay, let's start styling the sidebar. This here, we will flex its display. See, its display is flexed now. However, they are flexed horizontally, while we want them to be flexed vertically. Therefore, we say that flex direction column. They are now placed vertically under one another. For the space that we have here, we want to set how they can use this space. we will set 20% of it for logo, and we'll also give another 20% of it to this button. And for the remaining 60%, we will give it to nav. So what do? We say that in this part, the height of our logo is 20%. We give it a 20% height. The height of our nav will be 60%. And this button that we have here, and we can see its class here, the toggle mode button. The height of the toggle mode should be also 20%, as you can see here. So it is now divided between these. Now, if I take and inspect here, see, this height is divided between these sections. That is, our nav has a height of 570, our logo is 190, and our toggle mode is also 190. So we divided it among these three, as you can see here. Now, nav should be placed in the center. For it to be placed in the center, we will flex its display and set its align items to center. It will then be placed in the center. You can see it is exactly placed in the center. This button that we have should also be moved down here. See, according to our design, the button is down here. The logo is at the top, so what should we give our button? We say that for our toggle mode, its display should be flexed. However, its align items should be flexed end, so that it is placed at the bottom here. This part is placed at the top. This is at the center, and this is at the bottom. This one is by default at the top, and there is no need to give its display flex and set it to flex start. It's possible to do that, but it's already at the top itself. We will give nav display flex, and we set its align items to center so that it's placed at the center. And for this one, we set its display to flex and its align items to flex, and so that it will be placed at the bottom. Now, let's turn to our logo. We start from logo to style it. See, our logo is in the center. And how far is it from the top? It's 62 pixels. See, its distance is 62 pixels from the top. So we say that it has a padding top with the value of 62 pixels, and it is in the center. How to say that 62 pixels is in the center? We say that text align center, and then it will be placed in the center. Therefore, the distance to the top is now 62 pixels, and it is in the center. Now, let's go to our navigation. This here is our nav. This nav of ours, firstly, doesn't have bullets. See here, we have bullets. So we say that in our nav, our UL, list style, none. It doesn't need list style, and we remove the bullets. Next, you see that Bootstrap has added a series of default styles to it. See, it has added padding and margin to our UL here. This is the work of Bootstrap. If we take a look at the styles here, yes, as you can see, the styles are written here are for Bootstrap, which by default is given a margin and padding. In order to remove these, we say that margin 0, padding 0, like this. We remove its margin and padding. Now it doesn't have margin or padding. The next thing that we have here, these titles, we don't show them. We should make their position absolute and set their opacity value to 0. And when hovered over, we will show them. But how? We say that in our UL there is an LI, and in the LI there is an A tag, which we don't need for now. For now, we want to deal with a span. There is a span which we want to deal with first. In our UL, which is here, we have an LI. In LIs, we have a span. What should we define for this span? We say that it should be position absolute, like this. We make its position absolute. We set its white space to no wrap, so that it will be written in one line, as you can see here. The place where the span is located is LI. So we say that for the LI, the position should be relative like this. And now, if we define for in our span left 5 pixels, it will overlap with this. If we set it to 15 pixels, see, the distance is not enough. But if I set it to 20 pixels, it will be placed next to it, as you can see. Now, we set its opacity. Yeah, we set its opacity to 0, as is shown here. Next, these should be centered, as can be seen here. So, for nav, text align is center. And we can also define justify content as center. And like so, they will be centered like this shown here. And if I set this to 1, see, they will be next to them. What we want is only when hovered, they shall be displayed. Now I should remove this so that we can see the page as a whole, because it might be confusing a little. Now we can see everything clearly. As can be seen here, so far we have created this. Now, the thing we need to deal with is that we should change the font size for these. Please note that the height and width values for these are 18. That is, we give them a font size value of 18. In our HTML file here, if you pay attention, see, in our navigation, in the A tag, our I tags are in the A tags. So what should we define for our I tag? We set its font size to 18. And if we take a look, we will see that these are now bigger. Now we want to give them a margin bottom. The distance they have with each other is 35 pixels. So we say that the distance between these LI tags is 35 pixels. If I open inspect, see, here we have our LI tags, where we can define that the distance between them as 35 pixels. Therefore, we will set margin bottom to 35 pixels. You can see that here they will get a margin bottom of 35 pixels. Now, what we deal with next is their color. The color also needs to be changed. The color for them is gray, so we say that for color, we define it in our A tag. We can also define it in the I tag. We set the color to gray. As you can see, the color changes to gray. We can also remove this red background, but for now we don't change it. However, please note that the distance for this to this side is 39 pixels. Therefore, for our padding, on the left side, 39 pixels, and on the right side, 39 pixels will be the padding. For our sidebar, we will remove its width. After we remove its width, we set its padding right. Here, we remove width and set padding right to 39 pixels and padding left also to 39 pixels. As you can see, the code is now like this. Now, what we need to do is increase the width of this part a little. From the left side, we need to increase our padding left to move it to this side. Later, we will measure this accurately based on the settings we will have. But for now, we set it to 130. In our main file, our structure, we will set padding left to 130 pixels, as you can see here. Now, when we hover over them, we would like to see the span. To do this, we say that whenever we hover over any of these li tags, we will see the span. We say when the li is hovered over, the opacity of that item in it should be 1. If we go here, see the opacity will be 1, and we are able to see it. However, this itself has a series of styles. That is, if I set it to comment so that it exists by default, see here, its color is white, which is correct, and also for the one hovered over, the color is also white. The color for the one which is not hovered over is gray, but the one which is hovered over, its icon will also be white. So we say that the span will be 1. We can write it like this. The li which is clicked on, I, that is for its I tag, the color will be white. And for the span, the opacity will be 1. See, its color is white, like this, the span will appear. And that is it for the span. Now, we have made the span permanently visible. Why? Because we want to give it a style. See, it has a padding of 13 pixels on the left and right sides, and a padding of 7 pixels on the top and bottom sides. So, we say that our span has a padding of 7 pixels on top and bottom, and on the left and right side, 13 pixels. If we go here, as is shown here, this also has a background. See, what is its background? It has a dark background here. It has a dark background. Our background has a border radius of 6 pixels, which is 1E, 1E20. And this 1E, 1E20, if we check here in the colors, it is our secondary color. So we define our background, although I should say that its opacity is 75%. Therefore, for our background, we introduce an RGB, and its color is secondary. And what should our alpha be? 75%, as can be seen here. Now, this also has a border radius, which is 6 pixels. So we set border radius to 6 pixels. And here we can see the result. As you can see, the result is like this. However, this is lower than it should be. It is not at the center. That is, it is not vertically aligned because here we have given it a padding. We can define a top for it. Top is 0, so we give it a negative value. I think it is now centered, so we give it a top of minus 8 pixels. And on the left side, we also increase its distance a little, like this. All right, left 30 and top minus 8. We enter it here. As you can see now, they're like this. Now, we set the opacity to 0, and whenever we hover over them, they will be displayed in this way. It's even possible to apply it to the A tag, and it will only happen when our A tag is hovered. Therefore, we go here, we have applied hover to all of the li tag, and because the span is inside the li tag, whenever we hover over this part, the span will be displayed again. However, we want the span to be displayed only when we hover over the icon. As a result, we change the code for our hover. But how? the hover that we had was applied to our li tag. First, we will cut this, and then we go here inside the a tag. We remove this a here. Now we say that whenever the a is hovered over, something should happen to the I tag. That is, its color will become white. See, the color will become white, but the span will not appear. Why? Because the span is not inside our a tag. The span comes after the a tag. See, these are the a tags and the span. Whenever we enter a plus, it means that the tag that comes immediately after it and is a span, it should be displayed, as you can see here. So it will display it. We wanted to do this a little more gently, therefore we will give it a transition. We define transition on everything. For all styles, it should be 0.3 seconds. That is for the styles which will have transition. Please note that it now happens more gently. Furthermore, we can tell it to move it from left to right. What does this mean? It means that earlier we told it that here its left should be 30 pixels. Now we define its left to be 20 pixels. But when it appears and the opacity changes to 1, the left should be 30 pixels. See, when it appears, it moves towards the right side. Its left is 20 and then it moves to the right towards 30 pixels. This means that normally its left is 20 pixels and when it is hovered over, its left will become 30 pixels. In this way, its transition will be more beautiful. Alright, we implemented that part and saw it together. Now, for the body, here we can return its background to its original color. That is, we remove the background that it had. Like this, I'll go here and delete the temporary background. As you can see now, it displays something beautiful to us. The only thing which is left is this here. Firstly, let's see how it looks. Then we start working on it. Our navigation is now implemented. See, it has an outer part and its parameters are 35 by 24. First, we implement this. It is 35 by 24 and its background is 1E, 1E20. And what does it mean? It means it is secondary. Okay, we have completed navigation, so we close it. We also close logo. Now let's start working on toggle mode. In our toggle mode, we had an outer. There is an outer part for which we exactly define these values of 35 by 24. Its width is 24 and its height is 35, as you can see here. It has a background and this background's color is secondary. We go here and we see that nothing has happened yet. We remove this temporary button we had here. This is its outer part, which will be here. We have a width and a height placed exactly here, as you can see. For now, it's like this. We can also give it a border radius, which it has here. Its border radius is 24. So, border radius 24 pixels. And the distance that this has from the bottom, see, the distance is 62. So we set padding bottom to 62 pixels. And if we take a look at this here, see, the distance is now 62 pixels from the bottom. Now, inside this is an inner. This is the inner. It is made of two circles. This circle is the same color as the background and has covered this here. As a result, it looks like a crescent moon. The dimensions for this are 14 by 14. So first, we will create a circle inside inner with the values of 14 by 14. That is, our inner has a width of 14 and a height of 14. And what should its color be? See, if I select it here, its color is primary, which will be its background. Background, primary, like this. As you can see, it is now here. Now we can lower it and place it there. That is, we can set it to position absolute, or we can do it normally here. We can give it a border radius. So border radius 50%. To change it into a circle. See, it becomes a circle. If I zoom in here, we can see that it is a circle. Now we want it to be centered. For it to be centered, we'll give it a margin right auto and also a margin left auto. As a result, it will be centered. It also needs a distance from the top, and it should completely be moved down. So what value should we give its margin top? For example, 20 pixels. You can see that 20 pixels is too much. I'll reduce it here. This is good enough for margin top, 16 pixels. So we set margin top to 16 pixels. Now, this is a circle. We want it to look like a crescent moon. We add another circle next to it, exactly like this, and cover it with that. How? We say that in inner, the position for inner is relative. We will define a before for it. It doesn't have any content. It will be empty. It doesn't need anything. We want to create a circle, one that is exactly like this. We will copy these here and paste them here. However, what's the background? The background must be the same color as the background of the outer. That is secondary. This means that we will not use primary as the background, and we will use secondary. Now, if we take a look at this, see, our inner has a before. It has a width and a height, and its position is absolute. Now for position absolute, we say top 0 pixels. See, I'll change this and this will move. If I change its color, for example, red, see, it's square. We'll give it a border radius 50%. It will become a circle as well. Now, we just need to move it. That is to the right. We add 2 pixels to its left. We need to adjust it. I think the way it looks now is good. And if I do this now, see, it looks like a crescent moon. I will copy these, and it also had a position absolute. I will paste the rest down here. By pressing Alt, Shift, and F at the same time, this will be arranged. Now, if you take a look at this part, the crescent moon is created. And when the user clicks on this, although we will improve this later, see, it will move up. See, in the light mode, this will become a circle and moves to the top. We just need to set the opacity for the before that we have there to 0 and reduce it margin top to so that it moves to the upper part of it. As you can see, our theme will change to white, and that's how we create our sidebar, which we created like this. It is now working properly. Now see, it's limited to this area. That is, when we removed that button, its width was reduced a little. What is its width now? See, it is 24 pixels here, and it has 239 pixels here. So it has a padding left and a padding right of 39 pixels. 39 times 2 plus 24, which is its width, equals 102 pixels. Now, its width is 102 pixels. Therefore, we go here to structure and set padding left to 102 pixels, like this. It will be exactly placed next to this, so the distance between our main and this, that is from here to here and here to this part is the same. We have two equal paddings and we have covered the distance. And now if I give the page a height value, that is, I give body a height of, for example, 2000 pixels. When we scroll, see that this stays in its place and doesn't change. And we can always see the sidebar. It now looks beautiful. I hope that you have enjoyed this part. Our website is being shaped and now it has a beautiful sidebar. As we go on, we will improve this and make it even better